Everyone, and welcome to Bluegrass Sartorial, our new channel for YouTube. My name is Bradley Miller, and I guess I will be the perpetual host for the new channel. So thank you for joining us, and just wanted to take a couple minutes to go over sort of what we're going to talk about here on the channel, and give a brief introduction to myself as well, and then talk about one specific topic today to sort of kick off the new channel the right way. So, like I said, this is Bluegrass Sartorial. We are in the great state of Kentucky, so hence the bluegrass, and we will be discussing primarily tailored menswear, more of your sport coats, custom suits, waistcoats, different ways to put outfits together, and then even getting into things beyond just menswear as far as the articles of clothing or garments are concerned, and then even getting into more lifestyle things. So some manners, general manners, etiquette, how to be a gentleman, just sort of in the general sense. But then even looking at some timepieces, which aren't, I guess it could fall within menswear because it is an accessory, um, but more so just because I like timepieces. Maybe even talk about some cars, interior design, architecture, those types of things, just to sort of, if you aren't interested in those, maybe give you a little bit of a basis of understanding to be able to have conversations with other people as well and be an interesting dinner guest if you find yourself going to different events like that. But then also just sort of a general way of looking at life and why some of us decide to get dressed every day, even though most people might say that we don't have a true occasion or a reason to get dressed every day. Maybe sort of a philosophical shift in your in the way that you approach dressing and how you also look at the world. So maybe we'll be able to, or I will, since I don't plan on having anybody else here, convince you otherwise of the way you currently dress. But so that's sort of the general scope of the channel and what we're going to be talking about. But two caveats. One, I have really no idea exactly how this is going to progress. I don't have this grand plan because even if I did, it would probably get screwed up anyway because I would do something differently, sort of scatterbrained like that. So bear with me as far as that. But it is also sort of exciting since I don't have something 100% planned out. I'm just sort of going by the seat of my pants, as it were. That I will be paying a lot of attention to the comments. So if there's something that specifically you want me to discuss or give my input on, either to guide you or just as a different reference point, let me know, and we can sort of shift and take the channel in multiple different ways if that is of any interest to you. The other caveat would be I don't really know anything about video editing, and so I apologize in advance for any scrappy video editing or jerky or well lit or underwhelming microphone situations. So I'm working on it. I'm learning that. So hopefully, as I'm learning more about the video editing process and increasing my production value for the YouTube channel, hopefully it's offset by the information that I'm providing and that you're learning sort of at the same time. So it's mutually beneficial. Hopefully you're learning and I'm learning as well. So a little bit very quickly about me. Like I said, my name is Bradley Miller, and my brother and I have a menswear store in Kentucky, as I mentioned. We primarily deal in sport coats, so we normally have anywhere from 100 to 150 sport coats in the store at any given time. We also do, all the other accessories that would have to go around that: shirts, trousers, um, neckwear, outerwear, sweaters, you name it. There, we also have quite a successful custom suit business, or made to measure, and we'll go over all of those things as well. Made to measure business. So we see a lot of different things. We field a lot of questions in the store, and I guess considering the state of affairs that the world is in at the moment. Just in case you're watching this like a year from now, or maybe 5 years from now, who knows? I guess nothing really you put on the internet ever leaves the internet. We're going through sort of a worldwide pandemic of a virus, um, COVID-19, or the coronavirus as it's been called. So I have more time to be able to do something like this because I've had to close my store temporarily due to the Governor of Kentucky's recommendations. Um, and have more time at the home as I am awaiting anxiously to get back to work. Um, Started to do this. So we have a menswear store, and so a lot of what I'm going to talk about is based off of the questions that we generally are dealing with in the store, um, just because they happen so often. I assume that there's other people out there that have the same questions, and if I can be of value to other people, that is what I enjoy doing. So that's a little bit about me. Um, as far as what I do day in and day out. So I just throw that out there now because I'm trying to plug my business. Notice how I didn't mention the name of my business, because to me that's not the function of this video. But the function of this is to give you information to think upon. The great thing about our store is that we also have a big clothing line as well that we produce, and that we also wholesale to other people. So my perspective might be a little different than some of the other individuals here on YouTube, or that you see, because not only am I selling um, to our day in and day out customers, but I'm also work with my brother and our other partner in order to directly um, choose the fabrics, modify the cut, um, and overview the actual production of the garment to then take to the marketplace. So it has a little bit different of a perspective, sort of planning ahead, seeing what the trends are, most of the time ignoring them. Uh, but anyway, the point of me saying that is just to give you a sort of an understanding of where I'm coming from, so that if maybe I'm talking a little bit too much about the specifics of the build of a garment, and it's maybe not as important for you all, just leave in the comments. But the reason I'm talking maybe a lot more about it is because I do a lot of custom measuring, I do a lot of custom suitings, and we also, the balance of the coat is really important for us. I mean, that's what we specifically do a lot of. So that's sort of more my wheelhouse. So I'll try to make sure I don't inundate you with a bunch of like weird measurements and numbers and average body sizes and all that other stuff, different stuff. So the topic for today's video, now that we are sort of through with that, is one thing that I hear a lot of in the store, especially when guys come in and they're sort of browsing around, and what they say is, well, indefinitely they'll come up, let's just say, this was one of the forms in the store. It's not. I'm in my home with this. I need to steam this out, but either which way, first video, I'll work out the kinks. And they're looking at something, and like this sport coat here, blazer. Oh yeah, I really like this, that, and the other. So I'll ask them, oh yeah, okay, cool. So what type of events do you normally go to that you would wear something like that? And I always ask where they plan on wearing it, so I get a better idea of the scope. Is it a single event? Or is it something that, it's not a specific occasion, but there might be multiple events, so maybe they're part of an organization where they're going to be having to be seen multiple times, and if they don't have a deep wardrobe, we don't want to go with something like really flashy. So I always ask, and a lot of times guys will come back and say, oh, well, I'm just looking. Of course, everybody knows that line, but I don't really have a reason. This is the main kicker for me, is I don't really have a reason to get dressed anymore. I'm just looking things. And I think to myself, when they say that, because it's either one of two things, and I haven't been able to figure it out because Unfortunately, I'm not a mind reader. Otherwise, I'd be a lot better at my job as far as on the sales side. But it's either they honestly don't think that they have anywhere to dress up for, either events or where they go or what have you, or their job does not require it, so they don't feel that they need to dress up, and that's just their inclination. Or they're just trying to get me to back off because they feel like I'm being pushy. Um, Luckily, I don't think it's the second one because we spend a lot of time, or I don't feel like I'm necessarily a very pushy sales guy because I don't work on commission. Um, of course, because right, I own the store. So I mean, I do have a vested interest in whether things sell or not sell. But people generally don't drive all the way to my store to look around because they don't need the clothes. But the reason I always try to figure out why they're saying that to themselves. So that's sort of going to be what I want to talk about today, and to put it into the context of this COVID-19, or the coronavirus situation. So most of us are on in one way or another, a sort of a lockdown. Sort of the whole world is sort of on some type of lockdown. Either you're being asked to stay at home, limit your movements, stay away from a lot of people, no big groups, stay within outside of 6 feet of other people. So people aren't going to work. They're working from their home, or there are some industries where they are still working because it's more of a life necessity, um, which is sort of the situation in our state. Um, so I've heard a lot of people sort of, oh man, I cannot wait to go and do some of these other things and just get out of the house and be able to live sort of a normal life. And when I was thinking about it, in the back of my head, I was like, well, I wonder if people are going to start really actually appreciating some of these more mundane activities that they did daily that they sort of took for granted. Because when people come to the store, and this is where I'm going to connect it in, when people come to the store, or it doesn't matter if they're coming to the store, I could talk to people on the street, or I talk a lot about clothes and how people should dress and present themselves because I think it's really important. Not only from just the clothes aspect, but just in a holistic way, how you present yourself is very important to other people. Either which way. So I don't think it's just the store thing. That was my caveat there, why I sort of interjected um, with my train of thought. But is that, if people previously were saying, oh, I don't really have a reason to get dressed, now they have a situation where they can't even leave their own homes, not by force of penalty, but they're being thoroughly convinced that it is not a good idea to leave their homes for unnecessary reasons. Yeah, I wonder if then people will start to see that some of these daily activities that they were doing are in and of themselves great occasions to get dressed up for. Now, I'm not saying that going to where I am, Kroger is sort of the shopping supermarket of choice for the grocery. I'm not saying that you necessarily need to like put on a three-piece suit just to go get some produce, um, right? I think there are certain like levels, but I think that as a whole, most people just walking around and looking at how people dress, most people could stand to be a little bit more formal in the way they dress, or spend a little bit more time and have more purpose in the way they dress. Because honestly, at the end of the day, most of the things that we do on a day in and day out basis become just routine, and we do take them for granted. But it's not until situations like that we're going through now that you realize that, wow, even the most like simple thing um, it is you're longing for it, and they really are occasions. And I say occasion because we should have a little bit more interest in and celebrating some of these things that we do every day. It doesn't have to be something monumental or some huge event in order to get a little dressed up. I mean, if you're a jeans and t-shirt guy, it could be something as easy as taking off the sneakers that are with the jeans and the t-shirt, throwing on some type of um, loafer, swapping out the t-shirt or on top of the t-shirt, putting on a dress shirt or some type of nicer casual shirt, and then, if weather permitting, throw a sport coat on top of it. It's no more real work. It's not less comfortable. Um, does it take a little bit more time? Yeah. Um, so maybe this whole situation will sort of show us that there are everyday reasons why putting that little bit more of an effort in um, is worthwhile. And I, at least, I would hope, or I hope to see that sort of be the case. I think a lot of people don't really either care, um, which I haven't known a whole lot of people who really don't care what other people think about them. I think most of the time it's they say they don't care, but they just sort of find other things to worry about, and they sort of put that, um, lock that down in the back of their mind somewhere because there's other things going on. But I think most of the time, regardless, people do care about what other people think of them. Um, and rightfully so. Appearances, and how you put your either outfit together, or whether or not your clothes are pressed, or whether they seem clean, or whether you clean underneath your fingernails, or you brush your hair, or all of those things. It's not just clothes, play a huge role into how other people perceive you, how they respond, whether it's professionally, socially. Um, so, I mean, these are important things to be going over and to be discussing. And I'm not trying to say, by any stretch of the imagination, that my products necessarily, from a sales perspective, are what would be best for you. Now, well, especially if you're not a guy, because we don't we're a menswear store, right? So, and line. So that's primarily what we do. But, um, and you'll see in, I think, the video I'm going to do next, there's a lot of functionality to wearing a coat every day. Um, I know it might seem like overbearing or burdensome at first, but it really isn't. Um, and a lot of these things, uh, and you don't really know it, or maybe you don't pay attention to it. Um, But even the simplest thing is putting on, a sport coat or a blazer. I mean, this is an extremely comfortable coat to wear. Um, you don't need the vest and the tie and everything all done up necessarily like this, but they're super comfortable to wear. And they give you a ton of pockets. Um, yeah, maybe that's what I'll do for my next video. That's a good idea. So it's these simple things, but I think it's really just a shift in sort of the philosophy we have when we are getting dressed, or how we are approaching our daily lives, how much effort we want to put in. And because I really think maybe it doesn't, but a lot of it just comes down to complacency. And 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 I get it. It's really easy to fall into a really easy routine, and just you sort of do the minimum, and you get by, and that's fine. Because even if you're doing what your minimum is, I'm sure that there's somebody else who's doing even less. So you just sort of fit in the middle and don't cause any waves, and you'll be fine. And that's fine, I guess, if that's where you feel the most comfortable. But um, no great rewards come without taking any risks either. So there is something to be said for elevating one's stress, and just having a little bit more sophisticated of a lifestyle in general. It's not only what you wear, but it's also how you do things. Um, the presentation of it, or the purpose behind it, or that the ease in which you do something can be very, very elegant and sophisticated, and make people think. Um, it changes their perspective, or their impression of you, and generally for the better. Um, And I've never known anybody to say that they wanted people to think worse of them or less of them. So, just some food for thought. I hope that while people are doing their social distancing and staying home safely and responsibly, that as we get through this and we go back into meetings at work, or if you're a member of a club, going out for dinner, or just going to like the local watering hole to have a pint of beer with some friends, that you you cherish that moment maybe a little bit more, and then realize that I could pay them a little bit more respect, and I could spend just a couple more minutes putting together what I'm going to wear, or doing my hair, or any of these things to put together a more holistic, a more refined presentation of yourself um, as you go out and make impressions, or impress other people with yourself, hopefully in a beneficial way. So, like I said, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Can't wait to see you in the next one. If you found anything interesting, or you'd like to, I don't know, help us out, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And then also there's this bell. I'm told I'm not really that good with technology. There's a bell for notifications, and then you can set your notifications. If you turn it on, or like all, you will be notified when I put up a video. I'm going to try, at least when I'm stuck here in my home, to do a video every day. So, check back. But just if you hit that notification bell, you'll be notified by YouTube, and that'll make everything easier. And you can start planning around your favorite part of the day when the new video has been put up. So, once again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.